Thank you so much. And I mean, I'm pretty excited about today's story because this show is not just about us laughing and laughing all the time. It's about us learning from people's stories also. Hopefully that should also give us some joy and satisfaction. So, welcome to our show, and I'm so happy that you both made our time to come here. Thank you for coming. Now, you both had separate divorces. You were divorced, and for 10 years, you were by yourself. You were also in a toxic marriage, and you left, and you found each other. Before we talk about you finding each other, let's go to you first, sir. In that 10 years, when you had to leave your service in church, had to be, you were ostracized, pretty much. How was that journey for you? And did you think that, did you feel the guilt that I'm a Christian, I shouldn't be divorcing? Did you feel embarrassed? And how did you work your way through becoming whole again?
Can I first say congratulations to you?
Thank you.
We appreciate you, we love you. My wife was just reminding me that last year, I think at Dubai, you were talking about this.
It was an idea.
It was an idea, and look at what God has done.
Yes.
Can we just appreciate Mariah? The journey has been very interesting, but for God's grace. I know the expectation is that because I'm a pastor, I should speak from a Christian perspective, but I'm not oblivious that there are not Christians only here. There are Muslims, there are even people that do not believe God as well. So I'm going to speak from that perspective. The journey wasn't easy at all. And one of the things that I know for a fact is that there's no man or woman that come together that from day one plan to divorce. However, circumstances and situations that are at times beyond our control also puts us into that category that the only way out is to actually separate yourself. I found that I was losing myself. I didn't know who I was. I was making decisions that you would not relate to me. And for someone that has 2 children, I needed to protect the fatherhood that God committed into my hands through my children. And as a Christian person, as a leader in church, it was difficult. The church ostracized me. They treated me as if I was a leper.
Wow.
That they could not relate to.
Wow.
I remember...
Do you have access to your children?
Oh, I've always had access to my children. That is one thing that myself and my ex decided from day one, that even though both of us are not taking this journey together, both of us, God committed the children into our hand, and we will make sure we live that through and through.
Let me stay with you for a moment, because one of the things women find difficult is having reasonable exes that are willing to say, okay, we're not together, but at least take responsibility for your children. A lot of women struggle with men staying responsible. How did you find that? Was it an easy decision for you, or did you feel like, thank God I'm done, let me go and focus on my life and leave these kids for you? How did that work on your own end?
You know, the most interesting part of this journey is that when I found myself in that situation where I knew that, okay, this is not going to work, I didn't run away from God. I went back to God. I was exposed. I was saying to my wife just before we came down that truth would disarm you, but it would not embarrass you. Bible said that when Adam and Eve were in the garden, they were naked, but they were not ashamed. So I went to God as a naked man. And I said, God, please clothe me back. And God began to give me specific instructions that made it possible, even though I was hurting, my ex-wife was hurting, but together, because I believe of some of the things that I did. So, for example, one of the things that I did was that I called my ex-wife and I apologized to her. Okay. And I said to her that if this marriage had been successful, the man would take the credit. But the fact that this marriage failed, I take full responsibility. And I exonerate you from anything that has happened. I went to meet her mom and her dad, and I prostrated before them for disappointing them. Wow. That I know that when you gave me your daughter, you gave me your daughter forever. But unfortunately, I was not able to fulfill that promise. So I said, please forgive me, and I still want to be considered as a son. Now, when I believe my ex saw some of these steps and moved, it was easy for her to say, okay, we may not be together, but at least he's still a responsible man and a responsible father. So she allowed that process to be easy between the two of us.
Now, that is gem. Thank you so much for sharing. Let me come to your wife, Dr. Ibukun. You were in a toxic marriage, and I'd like you to also share with us the period when you were hurting. Did you ever think you would find love again, or was it a desire, or it just happened on you?
Okay, so when a woman divorces, she has a sense of loss, a very heavy sense of loss, and for me, it was very big. I thought I lost too much. And then I went into a phase, and that phase was, after mourning a little bit, I remember that what happened was that I lost myself. It wasn't so much just a marriage, but the loss of me, Ibukun. And the first thing I did was to find me. And my first voyage was not to look for love again. Because the me that took the first option, if I present that same day, so many times women remarry the same man in different skins.
Aha.
And if you do not work on yourself, you would marry the same man and marry everything that you did not want again. So it was important for me to, first of all, go into a season of finding me. And me was, who was I before the marriage? What did I lose in the marriage? In those years, what should I have learned? And putting all of that together, there needed to be a new me. And I'd say that not just as a philosophy. That was actually the journey. So the focus was first, finding who I was again. And that for me then took me to an extreme, which was I then became the strong woman who felt that independence was equal to aloneness, and that was good enough. So I went into that phase of just saying, I'm strong, I can do this, everything is coming together, and I do not want anybody to just disturb my peace.
Right.
But later, I found that what really you are afraid of is not a second marriage. It's actually losing yourself again. So if you look at it deeply, when you hear women say, I don't want to get married again, is that they do not want a repeat of what them happened? Losing themselves.
Dr. Ibukun, because of time, I want to move a bit faster because, you see, there's something that parents tell us. If you leave your husband, no, but who will marry you? Look at all these children. You have, how many kids do you have with your father?
I have 3 children.
3 kids. With 3, where are you going to carry 3 children to? That's what our parents will tell you. You better go and manage and stay. Just stay there. 3 kids. So in your situation, you met a man who has 2 kids.
Yes.
3 kids. How did you even think, okay, this is possible?
Okay. So first off, the biggest lie is to think that there's no one who would marry you with children. Whoever loves you with everything.
Oh.
So, however, this is where you must now be very careful. In choosing, you must then, one of your first criteria must be, will this man actually understand that I'm now one unit and that one unit represents me and my children, and can he be a not just responsible father but a responsible model to them? So in my choosing again, one of my first criteria was that will this man love my children, love on them, and also be the model in 2 ways. One, the man that I want them to look up to, my daughter that's looking up to a father, and then the boys looking up to him. And then our marriage, can it then be something they look up to and say, this can actually be beautiful. So in choosing, that's so important, and that's one of the reasons I chose him.
So I'm going to come to you guys, because I'm sure we have questions here. So you were willing to release your ex-wife, the family, and you did it properly. In your situation, do you think if your ex had probably released properly, maybe disengaged properly, maybe your healing might be better? Or what, for a man looking at you, listening to you, and wants to divorce, what's the best way to disengage such that there's healing on both ends?
Honestly, I think PYT did it very right. If I had that version, I would have completely felt a lot better, because the sense of abandonment is not just on the woman. The children also suffer a sense of abandonment. And so when the children understand that their parents cannot be together, but none of them has abandoned us, abandoned in the sense of they're not available, it's easier on the children. So definitely would have been easier on me. The more times that I cried were not for me, were for my children living in a situation where there was no present father.
Did you get that? Because it was important for her to say that. Because a lot of men are listening and they abandon. I'm done with you. I don't want to see you, your kids. But forgetting that it's not the woman you abandon, you also abandon the kids. And it's so important that she mentioned that. Let's talk about you, your spiritual life with your husband. Did that play a role in finding the kind of man? Was it for you? It had to be a Christian, because I'm assuming the former one too was a Christian. So you're thinking, okay, was religion a really important factor for you, or you were not really interested in that? You just want a man who was responsible and willing to love you and your children.
So I was able to define 3 things: 1, my deal breakers; my must-haves; and my nice-to-haves.
Okay.
Being a Christian or not was a deal breaker for me.
Okay.
It was a deal breaker for me because I feel that my own values are deeply entrenched in Christian values. And one of the major things, so it was a deal breaker, but it was also, it was not standing alone. It was not just being a Christian, but having similar foundational values. Because when you don't have the same values, you don't speak the same language.
Yeah.
He's speaking and you're speaking, but you're not hearing one another, each other. So he had to be a Christian. Two key things for me: he had to be a Christian, and we had to have the same values so that we can speak the same language.
Okay, interesting. When you met your wife and she says, I have 3 kids or 3 children, what ran through your mind? Or did you also have family support? Since no matter, or did you have, was there rebellion from your end? Like, lie, what is that? What was it like when you met your wife?
I think the first thing that I thought about was, oh my God, I'm going to do this all over again, because my children are old. They're 21 and going 22 and 18. So I thought that I'd finished that phase and it's now to settle. But I love children.
It does school runs now.
I love children. I'm very involved in my children's life. So doing it all over again was not an issue. And then an opportunity to just show love to, another, set of children. It really wasn't a phase at all.
Now, this is a bit personal. Blending families. Have you ever, because when I read stories of blended families like this, your kids coming around, their kids coming, they don't know, sure, okay, am I brother, are you cousin, are you sister, how do we call each other, how do we, because we're in Nigeria, we don't understand these things yet. It's very foreign. So what's the dynamics like in your home? Like, are they brothers, are they stepsisters, are they brothers, what they call themselves, and how do you guys make it such that there's no issue?
Okay, so we made it easy for our children. We've allowed them to just flow. We've put them together and let them find their equilibrium. We got married. They have come into a blended home, but we've allowed them to just be fluid. And what we found is that on their own, they're just finding their mingling easy. So the fact that we do not put pressure on them to say, this is now your sister and your brother and all of that, we've just allowed them to relate and just let it flow.
Naturally.
Yeah.
I have a different view. Everything she said is absolutely correct.
Right.
But I think I want to speak to the men, especially that are here and are watching, that may find themselves in that situation. One of the things that I had to do to make that process easy for our children was that I recognized the role that they played even before I came into their lives. Because there's something that my wife always said, that for her firstborn became her boyfriend. Because of emotional support. So when I came in and I understood the roles that they played, I began to make sure that their voice is loud in our relationship. There were steps that I did not take without speaking to her first son and for approval. Like when I was going to propose to her, I let the first son know that I was going to propose. When I bought the ring, the engagement ring, I gave it to the first son. When I wrote my speech, I gave it to her first son.
Wow.
So I took the children, I carried them along. And I believe that because they accepted me, it was easy for them to accept my children. So it's very important that when you come into that situation, you just don't come in and take over, that I'm the man, I'm in charge. These children were there supporting. They saw the mom crying, the sleepless night. So you just can't come in and then override everything and take control. So that was what made it easier for me.
Love it. So I'm going to pass the mic around. We'll just take a few questions because I know some of you might have questions on this matter. While you're figuring out your question, I'm coming to you, Dr. Ibukun. You're a career woman. You have businesses. How was it for you meeting a man? Because a lot of women feel like if you are divorced, they'll just stay home, just quiet, do your career small. You know, you don't want to make too much noise. But you're a high flyer. How were you able to, even with all that confidence, still was ready for marriage? Because people expect you to just be quiet and stay in the background. How was it for you?
To be honest, I would say that PYT has played a big part in my... Would I say I was completely in the mindset of marriage when we met? No. But there's a way you meet someone and he made marriage, again, have a completely different meaning to me. He broke it down. He came into my life and said something very profound, Moriah. He says, I'm not here to disrupt you. I will only enhance you. You know, so on your trajectory, you will keep going and I will only enhance your destiny.
Wow.
He consistently said so many things that
Hey,
made
just
me know
pause.
that.
Hey, Joe, you will not see a husband like you, please. Because there are lots of women that are looking for a man like that. Please, where did you find him? Was it church or where? Where did you find him? Please.
I found him on the streets of Instagram.
Imagine. Instagram, that
Even if your page is private. On private it.
Are you serious? Okay, you're on Instagram.
I'm on Instagram, yes.
Wow. What are the odds? That is so cool. I mean, because you got a good man and you got a good woman. I mean, what? You see? I mean, the reason why I wanted to know was because when kids are involved, you know, and you're trying to raise kids, now let me come to the issue of discipline, because that's another issue blended couples have. How do you discipline? How do I discipline? Oh, don't shout at my children. That's not how I raise them. Don't talk to them anyhow. You know, how do you handle discipline? Especially when they were once exposed to their father and how it's done, and your own kids are exposed to how them. So how do you handle discipline in the home?
Okay, so I remember the very first conversation that we had. My wife said something to me. She said, everything in every area, you have a voice. So, but when my children are concerned, please let me have the last voice with them. And I said, that is fine. Again, until the children accept you as a father figure, you can shout, you can scream, they will always throw back what you're doing and what you're saying. It is not what you say that is important, but how it is received. Now, if I discipline any of our children, and they look at me and said, how dare you speak to me like that? Do you think you are my father? Then I've lost them. So how I package what I issue or usher to them is very, very important. And you've got to win their hearts and you've got to win their mind. You know, so until I'm able to confidently say, then that is fine. So I will give you a perfect example. Our daughter was so excited that she ran to the room and told her mom that I don't want to call, she calls me Uncle Yomi, I don't want to call Uncle Yomi anymore. I want to call him my daddy. Okay. I was super excited. And immediately, I brought myself back down to earth. And I said, please tell her that she should go and discuss it with her brothers. If her brothers give her the go-ahead, then she should come back and start calling me Uncle Yomi. To start calling me Daddy. And the reason I did that is that I want them to understand that, look, every journey, every step, we're taking it together. I'm not going to run ahead of you. If you decide to call me Uncle Yomi for the rest of your life, I'm happy with it. If you decide to call me Daddy,
Nigerian.
I'm happy with it. I am Nigerian.
Are you sure? Are you born in this country?
I'm from Edo State.
Because we are hearing this for the first time. We only watch it in Hollywood movies. But we are seeing it, and I'm thrilled. Because a lot of men need to see that this kind of men exist. Because we always pretend, now which African man can ever... And it's a lie. They exist. So the truth is that you can actually have a family, a blended, successful family, when both of you are rational and reasonable enough to have it, to make it work. Oh my goodness. Congratulations. Let me take 2 questions. Anybody? Okay, where's the microphone? Let me come to the lady. I've not heard from you before, right behind Mama J. Where's the remote control? And there's a woman at the back. Let me be sure. My usual suspects. Pass the mic to the lady behind Mama J. Yes.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Amma, and I'll be sending the question to Pastor Yomi. You took a 10-year stretch to build yourself and get back the divorce. But in Nigeria, we find out that immediately men get a divorce, the next month, they are taking another. What's your message to men who quickly just move on to the next? And to Dr. Ibukun, there are lots of women who are not privileged to be in your position, and financially, they might have been abused in their marriage, and they are rebuilding again. What's the process and what's the message to that woman?
Okay. I always say this, that everyone's journey is different. I'm not going to stand or sit here and say that unless you do it my way, it's not going to work for you. I'm not going to say that, because we all have individual thumbprints. So what may work for me may not work for others. Let me quickly say this. I've met men even before I got divorced, and when I'm speaking to them, they will say to me that, oh, they've been separated or divorced for 10 years, and I always thought something is wrong with them, until I also went through that journey, and I could not believe that, to be honest, I think it took me almost 14 years to get here, not 10 years. When in the medical field, when something dies, one of the first things that they do is postmortem, to try and determine the cause of death so that they can learn and find out how they can prevent this or prolong life. That was what I had to do. What was the cause of what happened that my marriage failed? And it was a difficult period. It was a difficult period. People might be easy for them, but it wasn't easy for me. And until I learned, one of the things that God revealed to me is that there's first Yomi the man, there's Yomi the pastor, there's Yomi the husband, there's Yomi the father. What underpins Yomi the father, Yomi the pastor, Yomi the husband is Yomi the man. And if Yomi the man is not right, everything else that you try to put on it will crumble. So God had to rework in me. That means that there were certain things that I did not do in my first marriage, or things that I did in my first marriage that I shouldn't have done, that this time around I've become an intentional lover with my wife. So for men out there, I would just say that, look, there's no way you can rush into it. Just take your time and let God work in you, both to will, to do of his good pleasure.
Thank you. Your own question.
Okay, good question. It wasn't, so you started by saying that some people may not have what I have, but it wasn't easy. Let me tell you, in the first time I was going to take my children to school after the whole divorce and separation thing, I couldn't pay school fees, and they sent my children back in the rain, and I cried so bad. But I'm grateful for that day, because that was my morning, and I told myself, I'm going to wake up, and when you wake up, it's morning. So I'll say to the woman, it's time to stop mourning. It's time to get up. It's time to sit up. Understand that if people have journey 1, you have journeys 1 and 2 together. And you can do it. Believe in yourself and take one step after the other.
Let me take just one question and I'm done. Okay, let me come to you. Sorry. A gentleman wanted to go. Go ahead, man. And I'll come to you, sir, if I can.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Christy. Sir, please, I want to ask a question based on our Christian belief. We have been told that divorce is not right. And most churches, the moment they discover one is divorced, such a person will not be allowed to take any position in the church. Sir, what do you say to pastors out there concerning the divorcees? Because most of this divorce is not really their fault, but they find themselves in that situation, just like you found yourself.
Fantastic.
What do you tell our pastors out there?
Okay. All right.
Our general overseers. Thank you, sir.
I'll let you answer that. Let me take the gentleman's question once and for all, too. Please pass the microphone to him, and then so that we can wrap up. Your own question, yes.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Orutorojo. Thank you very much. I am actually inspired. I have a lot of questions, but I will try to limit them. I believe marriage is the smallest unit of the society. And I believe when there is a divorce, there is a way it affects the society on a long run. So my question is, how has it been, being a single mother, raising your children, and now having a father figure in the home? How has that affected the situation in the home, your children, in terms of how they process information, process life, and life generally? Then second question is, how are you feeling now? So you have 3 cases. When you were in your former marriage, when you were single mother, and now as a wife and a mother. Then the third question is, as a woman and a man who has experienced divorce, and you were bittered, because divorce will not come as a result of when you were enjoying it. So you were bittered. So you took that decision as this is a must. And as a pastor, I know it was a difficult decision to take. Now, after that bitterness, were you considering you were going to enter another bitterness? I love what you said, Dr. Ibukun, that the problem is you being afraid of losing yourself again. So, but in this case, were you afraid that you will go into another marriage that will make you lose yourself again? Even after you were convinced that, oh, this man is a good man, right, I can go.
Thank you very much. We're running out of time. Let me start with the general overseer, the whole pastor one. I'll come to you to answer the second one. Yes.
Okay. I know that this is a very touchy subject, ma'am. And I don't want to say that any general overseer, any ministry have gotten it right or wrong. How I dealt with it is this. Number one, Bible said, work out your personal salvation with fear and trembling. It was a personal thing. When I went to God, during my postmortem, God told me, married or divorced will not make you enter heaven. So what is important whilst you're living on earth is to make sure you do things that will make you enter heaven. When I had those 2 truths in the way God revealed it to me, it was very, very easy. The Bible said that the word of God has been made of no effect because of our tradition. Tradition has killed a lot of things. So to the man, to the woman out there that general overseers or churches have made you feel somehow, God loves you. And God is not going to treat you in any separate ways than he has sent his only begotten Son to you.
Thank you. The other question was a bit difficult for me to follow, but I think they just want to know how you are today. Are you really happy? I think in a nutshell, is this joy? Because you've been divorced, you've went through a time of hurt. Today, are you truly happy?
So I'll answer that question by saying something I said to him yesterday. Yesterday, he saw me looking at him very intently, and he said, what? And I said, I just wanted to tell you that I was happy as a single man. I found happiness. But I said to him, I was happy, but I found with you a certain happiness that I have never experienced. I said this to you yesterday. So it's a different so I now believe that happiness has different definitions and can be in different boxes. So as a single woman, I was happy. But I met him, and there's a different type of happiness that I have never experienced.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up, but thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I know you've inspired thousands of people who are watching the show. Thank you very much for coming to the show. We appreciate you. We're going to go to the shop. We're going to come back and bring our special guest there with us. We'll be right back. Whoa!
Yes, sir, come on!
You have done so much for me, and I cannot tell it. If I had 10,000 tongues, still wouldn't be